Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the biggest happy hour in a half an hour. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Paul Robertson. So thank you for joining me tonight on our happy hour Friday. We're going to get in and out in 30 minutes or it's free. So hopefully you like mine. If you noticed my new snazzy tiki shirt here that I just recently purchased over at the Pleasure Tiki. We've talked about them. They're actually one of our sponsors here who's contributed to this month's giveaway. So again, thank you for joining. We got a lot to cover here tonight. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and jump right in first. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to change things up a little bit so we can give everybody a chance who tunes in early, middle, and the late about answering these questions. So we're going to go ahead and switch up and see how this turns out. We're going to try something a little different and see if it kind of sticks here. So let's go ahead before we pull our card and play our little intro music to What the Florida. All right, here. So here we go. We're going to pull our card here for What the Florida again. What the Florida? Because there's always some crazy stuff going here in Florida. So here we go. All right, here is the question. Do you have a signature move or quirk that people notice or comment on? Okay, so that's an interesting one. Read it again. I'm going to read it a couple more times throughout the show here. Do you have a signature move or quirk that people notice or comment on? Now remember, post the answer, not in the chat here, over in the Facebook group, Drums and Rums Facebook group, that if you're not a member of the Facebook group, just go ahead and accept, follow through, request access, request to join the group. And again, it's a lot of great fun. We got a lot of different folks in there from all walks of, from the drums and the rums community. People all come together, have a lot of love going on, sharing cocktails and talking about music and drumming and so forth. So again, we'll read this question here again in a few more minutes. We'll get into it here short and just make sure I had it the right one. Nope. Oops. There we go. There it goes. That's the question right there. So I'm going to leave this out. All right. So here we go. So again, you noticed tiki shirts going on. Well, you know that we've got going on and we've talked about it. We've had him on the podcast and the biggest happy in a half an hour. We had Joel Lakovich of Rock Sound Rum had come on a couple Fridays ago and announced some big news at the time was on February 25th, that's today, that they are going to go for the record of the largest daiquiri. And I believe he said it was currently at 95 gallons, the Guinness Book of World Record. Well, we know it's going to be 95 gallons, more than 95 gallons. So that's going to be the goal there. So we are going to go out. We're going to be part of it. And so again, this is being taped. So again, I'm not here in the drum room. I'm actually out in Austin. So we'll be posting and taping stuff throughout the weekend and an event. So definitely check in, but make sure you tune in here and you'll see some good fun here. And I'll be live in the chat here also. So you'll see me pop in and out there. All right. So enough of that stuff telling you that we are transparent, full transparency. We're not actually live. We're taped live, but we'll be live in the chat here for the premiere on Friday night at 8 p.m. All right, so let's jump in. What do we got going on? So real quick, to get some housekeeping stuff done, make sure you check out the podcast. Make sure you please give a rate, a subscribe, a comment. Again, that's how all the advertisers, that's a metric that everyone uses to kind of see how podcasts are actually doing. And how well they're liked. So if you're not already subscribed, please rate, comment. Spotify now also has the ability to rate also too. So it's not just Apple, but please go ahead and give some love over there. Check out the YouTube page there. Also, we're posting all of our podcast interviews over there. We may start posting these videos out on Facebook as well. So to kind of grow a little bit of footprint in the video space there. So again, please, thank you. All right, so let's get to it. So real quick podcast. We just dropped an episode this week. It was our recap of the Florida Rum Society Miami takeover. So real quick, what it was a weekend where there was supposed to be a rum event happening. It got pushed back a month due to the COVID Omicron variant. They pushed it out a month, and a lot of people didn't want to change their plans because they already had stuff going on. And because in March, there's a lot of spring break going on here for a lot of folks. So we took it into matter in our own hands, put an event together. So big thanks to Jay and John. Jay heads up the Florida Rum Society Facebook group. the Florida Rum Society in general. So again, if you want to learn more about rum other than just your standard run-of-the-mill stuff, this is something definitely check out, especially if you live here in Florida. A lot of great events, and also was a lot of support also by John Gulla. He is the co-host of the Rumcast podcast, so a lot of great, really in technical conversations with some of their rum guests on there. So big support, big shout out, big thanks to them, those guys. Again, that was this week's podcast number 85. We're getting close to 100, so we got some plans. We're thinking about how to spring a 100th episode for the podcast, probably I think in the June timeframe. So, also what's coming up then next week, which will be this coming Tuesday, which will be the first Tuesday of March, which will be also starting off our salute or recognition to Women's History Month. So the entire month we'll have women guests on, drummers and rummers, talking about their story, talking about their companies and so forth. I'm really looking forward to it. We've got, some musicians who's written rum-related songs. We've got rum distillers from other countries. We've got a drummer who does taiko drumming, the big Japanese drums. So I'm really looking forward to the guests and the conversations that we're going to have with them and learn about their story and so forth. So again, I hopefully y'all dig the guests that we have coming on. Again, I try to reach out to people who I think is interesting and who would be a great conversation, and hopefully it reflects for you all too. So again, that's what we had going on. We posted this week. This is what we have coming up next week and for the rest of the month. So I think I've covered that base there, talking about the podcast, talking about all the YouTube stuff I've gone there. I'm getting a little behind on some of my videos. It's just been a little bit hectic lately and so forth. But again, I'm going to read our question here. Do you have a signature move or quirk that people notice or comment on? There we go. So we're going to read it one more time at the end of the podcast, the episode here, the show here. I don't even know what we call this thing anymore. So let's get to it. So we got that. Again, like I said, the reason why I'm wearing my Tiki shirt was because we're going to be in Austin and hanging out at the Chive TV headquarters there and supporting our good friends, Rock Sound Rum. And I wish I had, again, as Joel had mentioned, I think they're working on getting into Florida here. So soon they'll be in Florida. They're currently in Texas. So if you live in Texas, yay for you. We're still waiting here in Florida. But see, I got an empty bottle. We finished our last of our pineapple rum there. So this is it. We have no mas. I mean, again, that's a really great looking bottle there. So, so I'm unfortunately going to have to throw this away because it's unfortunately, it's a dead bottle now. But I'm going to just put this over here. But what we're going to replace that spot on the black bar with something that came in the other day. So I'm real excited. So I got this, came in the mail. And hopefully I'll use the scissors carefully. All right, so let's see what we got here. All right. So I don't know, it's like the length of it, is it like a Barbie doll maybe length or some type of something to that effect? No, looks like it. There's a bottle start. Oh boy, there we go. So we have it's definitely well wrapped up here. We've got the original light rum from Rock Sound. So again, I appreciate that. Look at that, right? Nice and clear there. This is a 80 proof original light rum there, small batch handcrafted. Again, we gotta love those bottles. Check out the podcast with Joel that we had last year, where he talked about the design of these bottles, obviously for bartending, speed pouring, and so forth. These long necks that you can grab onto. So what are we gonna do actually with this bottle that we now have that we can replace on the back bar here? Well, I'm glad you asked, because what we're going to do is something that Rock Sound Rum had thrown out a challenge. And this challenge was called, with this white rum, a drink to make with it. And this was called
Discovery in the Florida Keys. The Coast Guard found this floating tiki hut early yesterday morning in Key West Harbor, and it turns out it was stolen. Crews say there was one person on board who appeared drunk. Florida Fish and Wildlife officers took the person into custody. The owner of the company, Cruise and Tiki, says the tiki hut is his and that it vanished sometime Tuesday.
All right, so this story here we were talking about was, you know, I guess this is a very pirate thing to do, right? And let me see if I can move back on this.
Discovery in the Florida Keys. The Coast Guard found this floating tiki hut early yesterday morning in Key West Harbor, and it turns out it was stolen. Crews say there was one person on board.
So our Florida man there, he stole a boat.
Florida Fish and Wildlife.
So our Florida man story goes like this. So this is a very pirate thing to do, right? To steal a boat. I mean, we obviously seen it with Jack Sparrow stealing Captain Barbossa's boat and then going back and forth. And I'm not even sure whose boat the Black Pearl is anymore. But so I'm not entirely sure what my life as a pirate would have been. But like one of the things I can tell you for certain that you would have been drawn and quartered for stealing another man's boat, as we've seen, like I said, in Pirates of the Caribbean. And that would have been impermissible. But it's in Pirates Code of Conduct, right? And after all, what's a pirate without a ship, right? It's nothing. So what do you got to do? If you're a pirate, you don't have a ship, what do you got to do? You got to go get one however you may. So there was this man, as the video played there, was in Key West. And apparently he's cut from a different cloth because when it comes to piracy, he showed signs of intoxication and was taken into custody by the FWC, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, after he stole a tiki hut boat that doubles as a floating bar. He stole this glorious vessel near Hawks Channel in Key West, a highly trafficked area for boats. So, again, I guess if you drink a little bit much and you want to go steal somebody's boat. So, I don't know. Apparently his story was friend's boat and it disappeared or he went out to sea. So, obviously the Fish and Wildlife got called and they went out there to check into it. So, but for reference, though, so if you don't want to steal a boat, and but you think that tiki hut floating boat is kind of cool, for reference, there is a company out of New Hampshire named Tiki Hut Boats of NH for New Hampshire, NH, which will build you a custom tiki boat bar for $34,000. Okay, that's I mean, a lot of high-end boats are, not bad. And again, here in Florida, you definitely be pretty cool in the intercoastal, kind of like a pontoon boat. The Sunsetter is delivered with a 30 horsepower Suzuki motor, 8 bar stools, a fuel tank. It meets Coast Guard requirements, and it's a ready-to-sail sailboat. There's also another company named Cruise and Tiki's that's based here in Fort Lauderdale, or Florida, that has built these into a franchisable business. You can buy a franchise and start running booze cruises yourself, or you can just book a cruise if you're a customer. So here in South Florida, I looked them up. There are actually a couple here. There's one of their franchises here in Jupiter, the West Palm, basically almost all up in here in South Florida. It's the Tiki company there, Cruise and Tiki. So again, it's usually a couple $100 for a couple hours. You cruise around the intercoastal and drinking, hang out in the water, and it's a great way. We got a lot of boat club rental stuff here in South Florida. But yeah, I guess you can start up a business if you want it, buying one of these tiki boats and cruising around wherever you may live. You're living up in Tennessee and there's a river, buy this tiki boat and make some money, Siri. So there you go. Or whoever else is checking in there too. So again, also for anyone who's handy and DIY inclined, there's an article that claims it will cost you about $16,500 to build a non-powered tiki hut bar boat, or $21,500 to build one with a motor. So there are options out there if you in a market for a tiki hut boat of your own, instead of having to try to steal one. So actually, I do have a friend that lives up just not far from here who built I guess it's like a pontoon boat, but he called it like the Pond Tiki. So it's a pontoon boat / tiki boat kind of thing. And he actually did a DIY. So, but I don't know. Anyway, so there's our Florida man. So what other state would you think that somebody would go and steal a boat? Of course. And of course, what else is always involved in some of these stories? There's always, most of the time, there's some type of alcohol reference. So again, kudos to the guy for stealing the boat there. So pirate's life for me, drink more rum. So, all right. So anyway, that is our Florida man story. We've talked about we're going to say one more last time, our What the F Florida game. And also go through again. We just want to make this a quick little update there. Check out Rock Sound Rum. If you live in the Texas area, go to the liquor store there. You can find it there. Go to their website. They got a lot of stuff coming on. Again, this is going to be 2022 is going to be their year. So looking forward to being part of the Guinness Book of World Record at the Chive TV headquarters with Joel and the whole company there, and meeting a lot of new people, as well as going forward and representing drums and rums and supporting them as well. Like I said, I think I'm dressed a little spiffy. Got my new duds on, so thanks to check out Pleasure Tiki if you're into the tiki culture, tiki merchandise and so forth over in Tequesta, Florida. Like I said, they're part of the giveaway. Since this is a taped episode, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and push off our giveaway announcement for next Friday. So I think that's the 4th or 5th, but it'll be the next episode. So the first Friday of March, we'll be announcing the giveaway since we're not live tonight. And but we will look to see, we will check and stop the tape as of Friday. We'll see who's actually was in the top position, and then I'll go ahead and screenshot it just so it's all transparent. So a lot of good conversation there. I see a lot of folks are very, very engaged, so it's a really close one this month on who's going to come into the top there as of Friday's giveaway. So, like I said, I think that's it. I'll read it one more time. Okay, our question: do you have a signature move or quirk that people notice or comment on? All right, so again, post the answer over in the Facebook group. We'll go ahead in the chats here. We'll go ahead and pin the link to the Facebook group. But again, check out if you're into podcasting and other things like that. Check out Poddex, Travis Brown over at Poddex. I might try to get him on, but he's got a lot of stuff to offer for podcasters, like these deck of cards, or he also does a lot of great free content on Instagram to give to people to kind of give them some ideas for content creation and so forth. So I think I've hit everything. We've talked about the podcast that we've posted this week. We've talked about podcasts coming up and episodes from March. We did our What the Florida cards. We've talked about our Florida man story. We talked about our cocktail we made. We talked about what we got coming up. So I think I've hit all the marks here. I know we're right about 21 minutes. Again, hopefully you tune in, check out all the stuff we got going on this weekend out in Austin. But definitely looking forward to that event. So again, I think that's everything. More to come. And again, I can't wait to the next big box I get to open up here too. And hopefully you'll see some changes happening at the old Rum Drum Shack. I'm not even sure what we're actually calling this place, but anyway, we'll got to figure that out. So I'll take some, any thoughts and names for what we should be calling the room, the studio, whatever you want to call it. A little bit of drums, a little bit of rums, and so forth. So I think that's all I've got here for this night here. So again, I want to thank you all for tuning in. Check out the Facebook group. Check out the podcast, like, rate, subscribe, all those things. Again, those things are important and helps us out and so forth. So again, this is Paul. Have a great Friday and have a great weekend. And I'll talk to you all soon. Cheers, y'all.